one. I don't really get it. What the hell is government saying? They are saying when we have things like forced diversification, only rich people will receive the benefits. Guys, poor people or minorities too. Schools have scholarships, jobs should take people that are poor and not discriminate them fully, and we want people to be pressured to maintain and uphold this. That's what we want for glorified diversification. We want people to care more and have an invisible means within them, and we're willing to go to those extreme means that government didn't mention, but even if there are, sure, we're willing to go that so we can pressure proportionality and equality, which is only limited in our side. So glorification, I want to make things clear so we're not going to be misrepresented in this debate. Our stance is that glorification is not the end all or be all for change. This is a debate about narratives that we told you exist on the timeline. We do not regret the glorification of diversity because this unique glorification has given the visibility for the marginalized to otherwise have their voices heard. God thus far has not really told us any specific harm to this glorification, and at best, what they tell us is the problem, of which we told you can only be dismantled through the glorification of diversity. The glorification of diversity as a narrative is not the only narrative we have in society. We see this strategically coexist amidst the proliferation of social movements and grassroots communities who otherwise would not have the traction, the recognition of their suffering and plight. The intersectionality that exists between us all is only realized when we want to recognize that we are all different and there is nothing truly different, and we are all humans who come from dust, and to dust we will all return. The political and legislative change, like rights for queers, people of color, women, and urban poor only comes because we glorify the diversity we experience. This comes logically prior and upstream of what we get from glorification. Government, and some rebuttals here, government acknowledges the problem and says that this is because of oppressive structure. The glorification of diversity in and of itself creates anger, sadness, and emotional needs for people to be angry and aware of the suffering. Absent the glorification, the oppressive structures would be successful in their gaslighting and emotional manipulations of these individuals when things are only framed as their only fault and responsibility. Us responding to OG's claim that with people shouting and screaming at each other, the right and the extremists, they're going to control the narrative. No, when people don't know and aren't aware of the problem, that's the moment they get to control the narrative. And it doesn't make sense when people are now fighting and having discussions about it to be in the world, to be not able to make awareness whatsoever. They talk about the other narratives, but we think the glorification of diversity is the prerequisite for many other narratives to unlock that, like social movements. This is because when we acknowledge plurality and diversity, create communities, social movements, and collective needs to hold those who government creates are accountable. This includes what is not limited to rallies, referenda, impeachment, literally every form of dissent we can conceive in order to start that change. Again, this is not the end all be all for change. This is the starting point in order for us to hold them accountable, just like we've seen for the past 30 years. And also, guys, people aren't going to be white supremacists and extremists because there's another glorified group saying that they're diversified. It doesn't even make sense. That's so assertive. Like, you're telling me that, oh, I found out that they're doing forced diversification for black people. Now it means that I'm going to be a white supremacist and white people are the supreme race out here. What the heck are you saying? For my extension, I will do an after analysis on how glorification on average makes better changes from the individual level and institutional level. So why is it true in an individual level? When you are an individual, not trying to overgeneralize, but a white straight man in a society that kind of oppresses some other races, it is unlikely for you to actually notice those prejudices because you're not receiving the harms of it. You are likely to reap the benefits and not be able to understand what's going on with these people. There might be non-glorified ways for people to try and tell these, but we tell you that and characterize it to you that it is subtle. A lot of these harms are subtle, but it's still majorly affecting these people. What do these small problems look like? Well, they're not noticeable instantly. They look like making sexual jokes to women. This looks like gender pay gap. This looks like black people not getting hired as much because they are black. And this looks like cops doing extra screening to groups and cultures. Human rights can try, other movements might be able to talk about this, but they are not going to have it in the same deeper level if we don't glorify it and showcase it in front of people's face for them to see the problem in the first place, because they can't see it. They are unaware of it, and that's the biggest problem that they have. The major difference in government and opposition is we make it visible. Visibility is the gateway to justice. You don't know what it is, you can't fight for it, and you can't demand for change if you've never felt it before. All of change comes from bottom up, from the individual level, social movements to institutions finally realizing they are wrong, because institutions want to keep status quo. They don't like changes. And now we have individuals that are now glorified and seeing it. That's when change comes. I'll make it POI. Go!
Even your best case that you help minorities, this help is merely tokenistic, which is terrible because you make people think that change is happening, so therefore they become more complacent. How can you mobilize change if people assume that things are changing when in reality it is merely tokenistic?
Okay, all right, awesome. We are going to my second part, how it actually changes people in institutional level. When we have more awareness of these problems, institutions now get pressured to do changes. How does this happen? Why does this happen? Well, guys, there's social and external pressures given out by the individual level. Don't follow this. This looks like social movements like Black Lives Matter, pressuring police forces to not actually unfairly harass black people. Looks like social media users complaining online about the lack of company diversity. This looks like leaders being held accountable for not following diversification. Are you telling me those are tokenistic? Those aren't real? You are lying, my friend. What do you think? So wait, how do we position in this round? We tell you an effectivity of changes. We give you a way for people to be aware, which is the prerequisite for all other changes to happen. Because in your world, what ends up happening is right-wing people are the ones to be able to keep constantly hiding the problems, because problems are subtle. It's not always in your face. That's why we need to glorify it and put it in their face. I have never been proud to oppose this debate. Thank you, guys.